Hello, everyone. So, here we have a very, very special guest, a dear friend of mine, Diana, who I have known for probably 4 years, 5 years now. She is quite an entrepreneur, one of a kind, if I may say so. I have not seen someone succeed so well like Diana have, not just in business, but maintaining a work-life balance. If you read through her LinkedIn bio, you would see that she is mostly available in, I believe, Valencia and other parts of Europe and Boston as well. And whenever I do reach out to her, I would about 95% of the time hear like, hey, I'm in Cabana or some unknown part in Spain and hanging out with friends. And so I one thing I wonder, Diana, is how on earth do you do it? Usually, business owners, entrepreneurs are pretty stressed all the time. They are in no mood, or nor do they have the time to uh, see their own parents. Least of all, travel halfway across the world. So how do you do it?
It was funny because I think when I had first started traveling, it was because I had quit my last job. I was at Oracle and it was just like not a great work environment. And I quit my job and the manager asked me like, "Oh, you're quitting, where are you going?" Expecting me to say like IBM or Salesforce or something like everyone else quits or HubSpot. And I was like, I'm going to Spain. I think my early trips were just, I was so fed up with just like the work-life balance and how much I had missed out on and everything. So I just picked up and went to Spain. And then the subsequent trips before probably like 2020 were to escape as well. So as I was like building up my company, it was like driving all over the state of Massachusetts, like going to networking meetings, going and meeting with clients or prospective clients like in their offices. And I was so burnt out. So like the only break that I really got from working like 7 days a week for like 10 hours a day was to escape the country. So I used Spain as like an escape for like maybe like 4 or 6 weeks at a time. But then recently, post 2020, the world has like changed so much for like obviously all of us, and clients are more receptive to meeting online. There's more networking opportunities online, not using social media to just like keep in touch with your clients and everyone. Like it really changed the game. So now when I go to Spain, I have like pretty much the same amount of work to do as then when I'm here in the States. So
Mhm.
it's
Wow.
shifted from like an escape to like a really needed escape to just like, okay, I can be productive and work from over there. And I totally recommend it. Even I had friends who just worked out of Seattle for like 2 weeks in like a beautiful Airbnb and took advantage of remote working. So, but the stress is real. Like the balance is, it doesn't happen on its own.
If it is, it's not very evident. But when I said in the beginning, you're doing really well, and I was not being facetious. You really, literally have won awards for the way you run your business. Just to give the viewers an insight, you had several role in, I believe, sales in multiple media organizations like CBS, even in Oracle. I think you were in a sales role. So, what prompted you to launch? And what prompted you to set up a social media management company, which arguably 6 years ago is a very competitive space. There are more than enough agencies in the US and abroad who do exactly what you did at that time. So, what prompted you to launch it, and what do you think happened to grow it at the rate that it has?
Oh, it was a lot of just being like fed up. Like I always wanted to own my own business. I was like, are all the Dunkin' Donuts licenses taken? Like, yes, decades ago they were taken. Could I own like a Merry Maids franchise? Should I have like the Safe Light repair, like little
Yes.
van that goes around?
Uh-huh.
So I had always wanted to own my own business, and my I had a co-founder originally, and she was working for different agencies doing basically what our agency ended up doing. But the amount that the agency would charge and then her pay was just so small. So then when we developed Launch, it was really in reaction to people needing social media. So now it's like 6, 7 years later, it's like more common and more companies are investing in it. But at the time, it was like a harder sell. Like people didn't like hear social media and think like, oh, I need that, like they do now. And I think that now, I mean, everyone has their opinions about the economy, but I think that businesses have more dollars to invest that I've seen in like since like 2022 to today. But but my original co-founder was like, hey, you want to start a business, I want to start a business, let's try this out. And we were initially focused on not just social media, but also blogging and writing website content. And we found that blogs were very difficult. You needed a very high volume number to really like move any sort of like SEO dial. And the companies that we worked with in the beginning, their budgets were a bit smaller than they are the type of companies that we work with now. And then blogs are like really subjective. So people would be making a ton of edits or requesting changes, but it was more like just personal opinion. I couldn't even say it was like stylistic or tone, because it's like we were in the tone and the style, but it was just up. The blogs are a little too up for debate. So we really honed in on social media because we found like, okay, we're running basic ads. We can get so many clicks over to the website to read that blog that we wrote, that we all agreed on to post, or that the ads were so cost effective or cheap that it wasn't expensive to get somebody to watch like a little animated video or to get somebody to click over to the website. So our company and our services had evolved over time too, where we just kind of narrowed down on what we found was most effective for the clients and what we enjoyed doing the best.
And arguably, I know for a fact that you target, or most of your customers are small businesses, family businesses, in usually brick and mortar retail stores or in the services field. And they are arguably one of the hardest segments to get into, the most expensive. Even large companies struggle to acquire customers in that particular category because of limited resources and hard to reach in terms of convincing them to sign deals. So, what was your experience like signing your first customer on your own, and how have things progressed since then?
Oh, that's a great question. We just hit a revenue number that made me really proud and made me really excited. And I realized that that was like,
20 million? I know.
no,
It's 200 million. My bad.
I wish it was 30 million and I kept all of it and I'd be in
Mm.
Spain right now, obviously retired, would be like, oh, fly
I
over
don't
for
think that's stopping you from going anyways.
no, no. When we hit that revenue number, I like stopped and I was like, oh my God, this is a culmination of all of the sales meetings and all those miles I put on my little poor Honda Civic before it died, and like all of the pitches that I did and all the sales decks and all the networking and all of the coaching group that you and I were in and all the feedback and the learning. And whew, it was like such a moment to celebrate.
Mhm.
But from that very first sale, like, and then the very first onboarding, it's like night and day how different it was. Like in 2016, when we were signing on new clients, it was before we had Zoom. So now when I sign up a client, we're on Zoom and I control their page and I add us as admins and I show them all these questions and ideas and
Mhm.
whatever. Back in 2016, I remember being on the phone and being like, okay, do you see settings? Click settings. Now click
Wow.
admin and walking them through it.
Mhm.
And it was one of my clients, probably in like 2017, was like, oh, I've been using this new thing called Zoom. And I should have bought stock in Zoom that day in 2017.
Wow. Look at that. Mm.
Yeah,
Good
so
call.
yeah, so we were early adopters on Zoom, but yeah, the sales process has changed and gotten better over time. Like what I talk about, what I focus on in the original meeting with them, and I really try and just focus on like, hey, thank you for taking my call. A lot of times it was a referral over to me or someone who responded to some of our marketing. And I just try and give them like ideas, say, here's a bunch of ideas. I looked at your pages, like, and these ideas will work. Like they work for our other clients. If you do them yourself, great. If you don't, then you can use us to do them. And that's been a good way that like I enjoy talking with people and helping people, and then they understand like what we're about too. So yeah, it's still evolving. I think the sales process is hard um to
Mhm.
keep from changing.
So just to get an idea, out of 100 meetings that you would take, how many of them do you think you'd be able to convert to a customer, like as of today?
Yeah, I think it's probably like I don't know, 30 to 50% if they come
Wow, that's
that high.
crazy.
I
That's
hope so.
insane. Huh.
Yeah. I would say that the type of marketing that we do is like cold email marketing. Maybe that's on the lower end. Maybe that's about 30% because really the only people who respond are the ones who will jump on the call and be like, funny enough, like I was just talking about this, or I was just thinking about we need a social media strategy. And I'm like, well, great, here I am. Like this is what we should do. And then I think the closing rate is a little higher when people like get referred from a current client where they're like, oh, I like what you're doing with your social, like who does it? Or another agency refers us. So the other agency might offer like more traditional advertising or be focused on like lead generation, but they need help with content. So the close rate is a little higher because it's like a warm intro.
And in terms of pricing, what is how has your strategy been? How did your company decide? Is it because your co-founder had experience in agency, and along the time, how did it evolve? And since you have been at it for 7 years, do you think a pricing is a function of the costs involved, or do you think pricing is more a function of values that you provide to your customers?
Oh, that's a before COVID and after COVID thing
Mhm.
too. So I think before COVID and when I was like 27 years old, I had no idea that I had to price things and budget and do expenses and think about the day when like I wouldn't be doing the fulfillment or my co-founder wouldn't have been doing the fulfillment herself too. So the cost of paying somebody else to do things. So in the early days, we were so undervalued for like
Mm,
the what we provided.
mhm,
And we still have customers from like 5 or 6 years ago who
mm,
have close to that original pricing, which like they're so lovely to work with and we can write their content like so easily now after 5 years. So they still have very close to the original pricing when COVID happened and people started working online, and I think that a lot of strategy changed to acquiring customers online. I think that the market could bear a higher price for what we do. So now our pricing, instead of being like almost dirt cheap, I would say, for a monthly subscription, now more like on the level for the service that we provide post COVID, and especially in the past couple of years, has made the content better from our team. We had to increase wages, obviously, and then investing just in different ways to do things. So like better graphics, more like tools, more insights, things like that. More team members too, to kind of disperse like the like sometimes heavy workload among more people.
mm. That's that's a tough one. And speaking of people, I know you have a lot of people who do most of the work for your customers, and you're busy being the CEO or founder, and expanding your network, reaching out to people. How has that journey been? Getting people on board? Any challenges that you've faced? And in your, what advice would you give early stage founders who are looking to build a team?
Yeah, ooh, that's good too. I would say not to wait until you're at your breaking point
Mm,
because I think that hiring somebody to help with the comments was because I was at my breaking point where a day might go by and I'm like, I didn't have a free second to like eat my lunch or check the comments today. And
mm,
so we brought Leah on our team that does a wonderful job responding back in like the client's tone. Krista was like hitting her breaking point over the summer, who's been our content director for 5 years now. And yeah, so we started moving some of her workload and hiring two more writers too to
mhm,
like take over what she had too much on her plate. So I would say don't wait until that absolute breaking point because the transition takes a long time. It takes like
mhm,
a few months and that employee or yourself is already like going to break.
mhm,
And it's hard to come back from that burnout. But we've been fortunate to find really good talent through LinkedIn, not so much Indeed. And then we
mm.
connected with Lyra just through Upwork. It started as like a smaller per contract because I was going on a trip and I needed some help.
Course,
And
course.
then, yeah, of course. And
Mhm,
then she was so great. We just kept expanding her role and giving her more responsibilities. So
mhm.
I guess it depends on the type of startup. If you can hire people in more of like a freelance capacity and then expand their responsibilities based on how great they fit with your team and the quality of their work, or if you need to hire like full time, that's, I don't know, I couldn't really speak as much about that as speak about kind of patching people in to help you as you steadily organically grow.
Mm. And it's evident that the trips that you talk about are an integral part of your livelihood, and you have not shied away from taking set trips, regardless of what's happening in the world or with your business, and that has been a kind of a keystone for you. And so I think like one question that I personally had was, is it seems that a lot of businesses, or a lot of startups especially, are in the race to grow fast, grow quickly, 10x, 20x, raise millions, raise billions, and just keep at it. The quote unquote hustle culture, which encourages and glorifies being busy all the time, not taking time for yourself, just being relentless. And obviously, you're a shining example of why that shouldn't be the case. And I think generally people have realized that the hustle culture is not meant for everyone. It is necessarily not the best option for a lot of people out there. And there are other alternatives too that, like you have just shown. What, in your opinion, again, advice would you give for early stage founders when they think about um, work life balance, when they think about taking time for themselves? And has it, in fact, resulted in you being more productive along the way, or has it negatively impacted, or have you had any regrets in terms of taking those vacations?
Oh, no, never regret about a vacation. No way. Because like even when I was like employed by like corporate, I would say like your job, everyone says it's like your job doesn't love you back, but also your company might not love you back. Like the success really takes like 10 years.
Mm,
So if you want to like go all out and work really hard for the first year or two, that's great, but like still in kind of a healthy way. And then by maybe hopefully like halfway through year two or going into year three, like you're really like 9 to 5. I would hope so. And that you can like schedule vacations and you can unplug and you can relax because I mean, your health is wealth, I suppose, like everybody always says. And I wish that I could go back in time and not like have fried my brain so much because now like and we talk a lot about just like I don't know, just the anxiety of like working and I wish that I had taken better care of myself. Like I was living on coffee and granola bars for like 2 years, and now I think I'm paying the price of it. So it's just like I would say it's kind of not worth it. You don't really have to do it. If you look at it, like I'm really invested in this company and I want to make it work and I have a 10-year plan and I have enough savings to live on for a year, then like do it like a normal, relaxed person would do it and not, to
mhm.
your own detriment.
That is those are wise words from you. And looking ahead, what's the plan? What's the plan? Obviously, a lot more trips coming up for sure. But apart from the trips, what have you planned for yourself and for your company?
Ooh, I hope some more trips and a group trip. So we can
Take
all,
everybody. Yeah.
yeah, we've done a couple trips with the whole team. It's been really fun. Plans for us, I think that the our roadmap is like super attainable finally going into year 7, or 8. I can't even remember now. And it's yeah, it's just like maybe pick up a handful of clients before the end of the year, but just make sure that everyone enjoys like what they do every day. And I think that that's been a big part of our success is like, do you like your job? Do you feel heard? Do you feel respected? Do you enjoy what you're doing? Do you feel like creative? Do you not feel burnt out? And that's like definitely a priority for this year because we kind of figured out all the other pieces. And that just helps the business be more successful too in the long run. So
Mhm.
2024, the rest of the year, the rest of the like 8 months, I'm just looking forward to like enjoying life and if a founder could find that in year 2 or
Mhm.
3, uh I think their heart health might benefit from that
Wow.
and their brain health. So
Are you telling me that if you had enjoyed your time at Oracle and you found the work fulfilling, you would still be in Oracle?
yeah, maybe. I feel like at that job and at prior jobs, I would was always really invested in what I was doing, always like working really hard, always excited and trying new things. And then it was I mean, I don't want to like throw shade or anything, but the organization structure changed a bit,
Mhm.
and the I didn't enjoy going into the office anymore. I didn't really see like all of my efforts like paying off. Like it was just a very I was in a not experimental division, but just a not
Mhm.
as established or successful division. And after a couple shakeups, I was just kind of like, I don't like being here. Let me go do something else. So I'm like thankful for that too. I'm grateful for that.
Wow. So it has that experience molded you to behave differently. Now you're the boss. You have people working under you, people working with you. Has that molded how you view leadership on your own in your own organization?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yes. 100%. Yes. It's I so we ask our team to like track their hours, not so we can make sure that they're working, but to make sure that they're not working like extra without getting paid. So yeah, and like Krista has really built this company with me, and I see her as like my part owner basically. And it's just like, Krista, one day if we have an exit strategy, like what will that look like for both of us? Because she's
It's true.
really
Mhm.
she's really put like so much like time and effort into it. And I so appreciate like all my team's efforts, because I've been employed at companies and not been happy, and then it just affects your whole life. And one of the main goals that I talk a lot about with my business coach, our common connection there is like I'm really proud of the jobs that I've created for people and the environment that we all work in. Like we enjoy working, we have jokes over Slack, like we try and meet up once in a while, even though we're all spread out all over the place. And I think that I don't know, at the end of the day, that's what like a founder should really be proud of, is like the work environment, creating those jobs, and then also the product that they have and how it helps improve the lives of other people.
Wow, that's quite a mission. For context, the way that we met was through a mutual connection. Deb Thompson, she is a fantastic person. Both of us are still in touch with her even after all these years. She helps us tremendously, both as a professional as well as a friend as well. She's the sweetest. She is caring and very empathetic to both of us. So just big shout out to her. What are your thoughts on Deb? And I know you have a special connection with her as well.
Yes, I'm a big fan of Deb. I don't know if my company would have survived without Deb. Like
That's a big thing to say.
yeah, so I would say every like founder out there, get a great business coach, get or work with
Yeah.
Deb. She helped me restructure
Mm.
the like the packages that we offered, and making sure that it was profitable and aiming for like a profitability standpoint. And then she had made so many like wonderful introductions to clients that worked with us and have worked with us for a long time. And yeah, she's just like, she's such a great mentor. And I want to, yeah, I can't, a thank you is not enough for Deb, but I tell her that like every time I see her.
Should take her to one of your trips. Except she has a couple of dogs to bring along as well. But other than that, I'm sure she'd love to come.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We always dream. I feel like every call we think about like, oh, I could be doing this retreat in Italy, or I could be working from Spain, or
Mhm.
she just went to London. Like it's just, it's where the things that you prioritize are important to reward yourself with.
But I would say that the life that you're living is kind of what everyone hopes to, or a lot of people hope to achieve, where you have a good job or a good role that you created for yourself, an organization, a team, an opportunity to work from anywhere, an opportunity to travel as you wish, and have a very fulfilling work-life balance. Now, speaking of work-life balance, how has that generally been for you in the beginning phases, and how has that evolved with time?
It was like, it was non-existent. It went from like starting a company, from me being so naive, being like, I don't even have to work the whole day. And then we
Yes.
started picking up more clients, and I was like, oh, like I didn't eat lunch today. Like I live on coffee and granola bars. This is awful. To then COVID happened and everyone was locked in their houses. And I was like, okay, like I'm starting to not feel like so drained and stressed out. And I was actually supposed to be like in Spain in March 2020. And then I was like, look, watching the news, like, maybe I shouldn't go. I don't know. And then they had the worst lockdown ever. So I'm glad I didn't. But work life is you have to be, it has to be one more thing that you like add to your plate of like to-dos. So that's stressful as well. But just like giving yourself like a little extra deadline, time blocking, prioritizing like moving, being outside. Like it's easy to like practice. It's not as easy to like actually do it like as it is to put it on the calendar, but then never do it and put something else in the place. But yeah, I think like spending time with like your friends and your family and taking breaks or long weekends and just reorganizing a bit, it pays off in the long run. Like what's one more hour if you stare at your computer if you don't get anything done? So
Mm, that is true. I think once you move to the next phase of your life, you should be a business coach as well. You know, Zen time with Diana, or something to that effect. I'm sure you'll easily get clients. Not very hard to find stressed out founders. I would say it's hard to find founders who are not stressed out. So it's like a shooting fish in a barrel kind of a situation.
oh my God, yeah. And like I'm no Deb. I look at like whatever mess that they had going on at their company and be like, good luck with that. Anyway, I have
Yeah.
to go. I can't help you with that.
I've got a Spain trip coming up, so good luck with
Yeah.
that. Let me know who you fire.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. Hopefully. No, I would say like it just takes time. Like in the early days, like forget, you know, any balance, which is like bad. But keep in mind a structure and a future structure to work for and like milestones to work towards that you can like really balance your day and your stress level.
I wish to achieve your level of Zen, hopefully soon. But thanks again for being my friend, for having this conversation. You're an amazing person. And if anyone, I know you're not looking for clients, I think your hands full already. But if somebody insists on reaching out to you, I hope you wouldn't mind.
Of course. Oh yeah, of course. I mean, even if you don't want to hire us or it's not in your budget, like it takes me 5 minutes to go through your pages and send you back like 5 ideas that you can try for next month. So
Get
yeah.
that. Wow, we just natural salesperson now.
Yeah, a little bit. But and I will say, I also really appreciate our friendship and going through this founder's journey together and sharing resources and ideas and I don't know, like ways to manage stress. I feel like that's like a third of the things that we talk about. So it's just like,
Mhm.
yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you for having me on your podcast too.
Course, and hopefully next year we'll get the opportunity to do this again. And I'd love to know how things have been for you since then.
Yes. Oh, wouldn't that be fun? 2025 update. Oh, yeah, I'd be curious.
Bye. All right. All right. Thank you, Diana.
Thanks.